Hello and welcome to this Level 2 and 3 digital storytelling publishing activity using Adobe Express, where we can all create powerful curriculum content using the 5 E's: Explore, Express, Exchange, Evaluate and Exhibit. For more info on the 5 E's, head to ccea.org.uk. Before we get creative today, make sure that you have taken some time to look at some relevant examples of digital publications, such as menus, signs and event posters. When you're ready, head over to Adobe Express, and this time I'm going to use the desktop version. So we're going to start a new poster project. There's lots of ways that you could get started. You could click any of these tiles here, and then you could also go to the big plus in the top left corner and choose a poster option. Once you reach your blank canvas, we're going to look and explore some of the different buttons that we have down the left hand side here. This is where I can insert lots of different types of media and some text and some elements and things like that. The first thing I'm going to do is add in a title and some information that I think is important. I'm going to choose the topic of houses and homes, or my place and yours, but of course you can do this for any world around us topic that you are teaching in your class. So let's start off with a for sale sign about a detached house and some information about the rooms. For this level, we want to start getting specific about the formatting. So we want to be able to change the font types. You can click over on the font options and scroll through some. And I'm going to go for the same font style for some of my subtext. Now I want to change some of my font sizes. I can do this in a couple of ways. I can go and change the numbers, or I can scale my text box using the corner handles at the sides here. I can center and change about my text box by clicking and dragging the boxes around, and you'll see that my pink guidelines are coming up to help me know just exactly where I can line this up so that it's cohesive. Now what I want to do is start changing the font color. So I can go over to my left hand menus. I can see a beautiful color palette with more colors here. And this is all up for creative choices now. You can drag this slider back and forth, and then down below you have a little circle that you can drag for it to be darker and brighter. Repeat as necessary. And now it's time to add in some media. So I'll go over to the media tab. I've got my options at the top for photos, videos and audio. And then I'm going to search for a few images to put into my poster, and then I'll start getting creative with resizing, positioning and scaling. And because I've looked at some examples of house brochures and flyers, I know that I don't need too many images, just some standout ones. So I've got them all added in now, and again I'm going to look at those corner handles and drag it down and in to make the images smaller. And for now I'm just going to make them all smaller so I can have a good look at what I have inserted to my canvas. And again, just dragging it down, moving, changing the positions. And I'm starting now to think about my layout and how I can rearrange this. And I think I would like quite a feature image of the front of the house. And maybe I could start moving these over to the side neatly. And there we go. So before I would go and export my work, I want to give it a new title. So go up to the top and drag over all of the writing to highlight it, delete it, add in your new title. And once it's saved, you can then look at your options for exporting. So you could download it as a PNG, or you have other options in there as like a PDF. And then you could download that to your downloads folder on your device, and then you could get it printed. You could also share this project with your teacher. This is a really great introduction to exchanging, where you can show pupils that they have options to send it to Google Classroom, to Microsoft Teams if there are assignments open, or they can just share the link with the teacher. At this stage, we want to start looking at how we could improve our work, and if there are any changes that are needed. Maybe we'll come back to it the next day after someone has reviewed our work. So to find it, we can either go to our recents down at the bottom, or go into our folder systems here, where I can see all of my recent projects, and I'll look at folders a little bit later on. Now, if I want to elevate this project and bring it up to a level 3, I maybe would start off with adding a background color in here. So at the very top, I can see all that familiar color palettes that we looked at before with the font. I can choose something that will stand out a little bit, pay attention to the styles and effects that might attract the audience that this is for. So I want my writing to be very legible for this case, and maybe I'm going to explore some of the text layouts that are available to me in Adobe Express. So this dynamic one, for example, makes the top line and bottom line the same size, even if you have different length of words. I might go and explore some of the other effects, such as shapes. Could put this inside a circle. Quite like that, you know, but maybe I want to change the color. So I'm going to go in and edit the shape fill. And again, I can go to custom, scroll around and find a really good contrast for the text font that's in the foreground. And then of course I can invert it, so I can swap them back and forth. I can increase or decrease the size of my shape. I have a lot of editing controls available to me, including the opacity. So really just experiment and explore with all the buttons and options that are available to you when you're editing. Whilst I'm still focused on my text, I'm going to turn my attention now to making some bullets and alignment changes to my text box here at the bottom. So by selecting my text box, I can go over to all my edit options. I can underline, explore any bold options that are available to me. The alignment, is it going to be left, centered, right aligned? I think the left works well, especially if I put on these bullet points. I can toggle them off if I want, or I can look at the numbered points, but I think that looks quite good for me. Just going to change some of the positioning around. And I'm really in a state of constant evaluation. I'm always looking at how I can improve my work, and I can see that these images need to be scaled proportionally a little better. So I'm going to zoom in to my canvas using the zoom buttons at the top. And now I can get a better look at these photographs and I can see, yep, these need changed a little bit. So click on the one that you want to edit first, and then use those handles, move the picture back and forth, use the guidelines, the pink lines that are there to help you with alignment as much as you need, and make any necessary adjustments like so. If you're using a laptop or Surface Pro, you can use your trackpad to pinch to zoom out. Otherwise, use your zoom options at the top here. And now what I see is that I have a little bit of an empty space here at the bottom. So I'm actually going to go explore some elements. In this elements section, we have access to lots of design assets, backgrounds, shapes, icons, charts. And perhaps I want a little for sale sign to go in here. So I'm just going to search for that and then choose one that I like. And then of course I can do all of my edits to the size of it and the color of it as well. So I click and drag it into position. I see those helpful guidelines coming up again. And then of course I can go change my colors by scrolling across the color pickers. And really what I want to do now is start looking at how this could all look like it's part of one brand or one style of poster. Right now I have quite a few different colors going on. So a really helpful tool for changing my colors to all look the same is to look at themes. So right up beside our background colors, you can see these helpfully curated palettes with complementary colors that could go together to create a really lovely style of poster. So I can click through as many of these as I would like to explore and experiment with. And if I want, I can shuffle the colors in a particular theme until I find a style that I'm quite happy with. Once you're finished, you can of course name your file, but I've already done that because I elevated our level 2 project into a level 3 project. So I'm ready to go straight to download, and I can download it as a PDF, which would make it very suitable for printing. Because this is a level 3 piece of work, I'm now going to look at how I can exchange this project with my teacher. So for example, I'm just going to use a demo account here to share this file to, and I'm going to give access permissions to comment only. So what that means is that on my teacher's account, they would get a notification that they could come onto my project and leave a comment. Really helpful way to exchange feedback back and forth, and I can also leave a comment on my own piece of work. So I can go up to the top where you see this little speech bubble, and I can start a conversation basically giving some feedback or evaluations on my project, and that's where I'll see any feedback from my teacher as well. Now another skill that I'd like to be able to have is to save this type of work into a folder. So before I do that, I just want to make sure that I've definitely given my work a title. I can see that it's been saved to the cloud, and then I click the Adobe A to go back to the home page. I can see my project is down there in my recents, but this time I want to go into your stuff or my stuff. I have lots of files here, but I also have a couple of folders. But to create a new one, I go over here, click create, and then create folder. I'm going to give my folder a title. and then click the blue create button. And then at this stage I can either drag my project up into that poster folder, or I can tap on the three wee dots and go to move, and then go and find the required folder there and save it and move it into that place. So there we go, we have really elevated a simple poster. So thank you so much for watching, and have fun getting digitally creative.